Hello everyone, this is Joel again from Dad Life Chess. Thank you for joining us again here. Tonight we're going to go ahead and try and play another rapid Game 10 training game here on chess.com. Thank you for those that gave some helpful hints and some feedback on yesterday's video. Hopefully today's video will be a little bit better. I'm trying to streamline maybe the analysis portion. It got a little bit long, but thanks for sticking around. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump in to the game here. Let's try to get a game here on chess.com. See if we can get an opponent. Yesterday's game was interesting. There was some definite learning experiences. We're going to go ahead and play d4 again. We're playing 10 minutes against Iron Rose 54. Iron Rose 54. So my opponent plays knight f6. Obviously, a very good game, very good response against d4. I'm going to play, again, my beloved London system. Don't hate on the London system. I love the London system. I think it's a great, opening, especially for working dads that maybe don't have a lot of time to study. And you just get solid positions, and hopefully you play some chess afterwards. I'm not a huge proponent of studying openings for long periods of time. This is a very sharp line. Now, if he plays this queen b6, it's gonna get wild here. That's probably one of the most critical lines against the London system. Another option is to play the bishop out to f5. But and of course they can play a more classical, bishop f5. So in this position right here, you want to take here, and the idea is my opponent's probably going to play e6, and then I'm going to play here knight d4. Now if he takes, I take back, and it's going to be very difficult for my opponent to regain that pawn, but probably my opponent will play the most accurate move, which is, yes, that is correct. And I take knight takes f5, and here I'm going to solidify my center. I'm going to probably get my bishop out here or here, have things of bringing my queen out. I can castle queenside, I can castle kingside. There's a lot of different options. Oops. But basically right here, this is about the end of my opening knowledge, opening theory knowledge. So we'll see where the game goes from here. I'm going to check this guy out real quick and see our opponent here, Iron Rose. Recent addition to chess.com. Looks like he or she plays primarily the 10-minute games, rapid games. Again, I've become a pretty big fan of the 10-minute games on chess.com. I feel like it's the perfect time control for online chess. I love, now don't get me wrong, I love 3-minute chess. I love even bullet chess. Now that's interesting. My opponent basically says, hey, let's just exchange off the dark squared bishops, and let's see what we got here. I'm not completely against that idea. If you'll see here, this pawn and this pawn are going to be kind of long-term weaknesses. He's got an isolated d pawn and isolated queen pawn, I guess. And I'm wondering, take, I don't want to ruin my pawn structure, so I don't want to let my opponent take. I could play here. That's just going to get dicey because he can push there. I can go, he'll push me back. My only other option would be to perhaps drop back. I'm just going to take. I'm going to see what my opponent has in store for. I'm just going to play queen b3, put some pressure on the b7 pawn before I blunder my queen. Let me just think through the moves here. Yeah, because I could play queen b3. I have ideas of queen b3. I could play rook d1. Let's see what my opponent is gonna do in this position. I could also castle queenside. This is interesting. My opponent says, hey, take that pawn, it's poisonous, you don't want it. In reality, I may trust my opponent, but like I have ideas here of bishop e2, bishop f3, kind of just putting a lot of pressure on that isolated queen pawn. Okay, let's see what my opponent's going to do. There's no reason to get really crazy right now. Bishop on e2 also kind of guards against silliness like this, you know, attacking h2. So my opponent defends the pawn. Sensible move. I'm going to go ahead and part of me wants to castle queenside. I feel like I have chances to just push up the board. You know what? You only live once, right? My opponent, by playing b6, also kind of stops any... There's no like open lines to my king. We're gonna do it. We're castling queenside. We're gonna put some pressure down the d file, and we're just gonna throw up those pawns on the king side and see if what happens with my opponent here. Last night, my my opponent was the one making the pawn storm. Maybe today our pawn storm will be successful. Who knows? Okay, so he's putting his king in line with my king, his rook, I should say, in line with my king. I'm just gonna simply take a little bit of time, tuck my king away, get off of this file. I don't want any monkey business later on. And sometimes I often will leave my king like in a precarious position, and I'll forget about it, and then later I regret it because I end up you know, getting checkmated or something like that. So all right, well, my opponent is thinking here I probably should do the same. This has been one of the more interesting parts of analyzing, or at least talking through my my ideas during the game. So my opponent's playing sensible chess moves here, getting toward the center. These kind of moves, his move kind of makes me wonder if I should just centralize my rook. No, because I dropped this. Well, that's not that big of an issue. Interesting. My opponent is threatening here. What if I just also threatening here? Kind of have to do something about that. All right, I'm going to play bishop f3. It was a move I was going to play anyway. I'm not worried about these exchanges now. So my goal is to put a lot of pressure on the d5 pawn, but at the same time I have ideas. I just have ideas of trying to wedge this pawn up as far as I can go, perhaps cause some weaknesses in black's position. So my opponent plays a sensible move. Now that my opponent is no longer on h2, I feel like I can just centralize my rook. But before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and pester my opponent by playing h4 and see if I can provoke a weakness in my opponent's position. And I have ideas of rook coming here. One question that is, I forget if it was Jakob Augard or who it was, that often says when you're playing a game, you want to ask yourself, like, what's your opponent's ideas? And one of the questions you want to ask yourself is, what is your least active piece, and how can you activate your piece more effectively and put it on a better square? So my opponent has played knight a5, kind of menacing my queen. However, I don't know if queen b4 is a bad idea. The idea I have in mind is it'd be interesting. Queen b4, let's say he goes here, and I don't want to take, because if it takes, then rook takes. I was thinking like queen b4, and I can actually swing my queen over. But I don't want to get my queen stuck. Not a lot of wiggle room. I just don't feel like the queen's doing a whole lot on c2. So I don't think I'm blundering my queen at this point, which is always nice. I feel like my opponent might be going for knight c4. My move 16 h4 maybe was a little bit premature. I'm kind of questioning myself. However, if I can swing my queen over, see, that was interesting. Okay, now this is looking like that kind of going back to, I think I got distracted, but going back to finding your least active piece, finding a good square. Knights are really great blockaders of the isolated queen pawn. And this knight, where's this knight going? Here? I feel like this is really good, but I might want to swing my queen over first. But that being said, yeah, let's just get this knight into a good outpost square over there on d4. I'm also kind of discouraging black from playing here, although that wouldn't be that big of an issue. I'm wondering if I need to get my queen out somewhere. Here, attacks this and this. Definitely an interesting game. Oh, I'm a little bit, I'm talking my clock down. Okay, so he's really encouraging me to play kind of where I want to play, is queen f4. And if he just pushes here, I'm coming in here. I can obviously stop this, and then we have things now my pieces are starting to kind of get closer to the king side. And once my knight jumps into d4, that's an actual threat now, because I'm threatening f5. So how's my opponent going to defend against this? Any moves like g6 just really kind of weaken the position, because I'm playing I'm playing h5 at that point. Queen e5 is an idea. Perhaps my opponent's going to want to trade off queens. I'm not necessarily against that at this point, because I feel like this weakness is something that I'll be able to attack. And I got the light squared bishop. I can get my knight blockading that pawn, and maybe double up on the d file. So I'm not hating my position at this point. I say that a lot, but yeah, okay, so queen e5. So my question is, do I want to exchange off the queens? Do I feel like my position warrants the queen trade? I don't have a lot of time to think, but I really do believe that this is not a bad idea. So I'm going to go ahead and I want to double up on this file. I'm trying to think of the most accurate way to do so. Here invites the knight here, but I don't necessarily hate that, because I would probably take that knight. And if my opponent, that's interesting. My opponent is really just allowing me to play to where I want to play. This knight is going to be kind of a beast here. Okay. I see what you're doing there. Not too bad. I'm not too worried about that. I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and go here. This defends. I'm getting down to pretty low on time here, so I better hurry up a little bit. But I'm not too worried about that. Opponent comes in here, maybe. Okay, so now I have threats. Now I have actual threats of, getting my knight here. Okay, there's a, oops, that's a threat. That's a threat. That is a threat. How am I going to ward off that threat? Okay, this is going to get a little dicey here. I'm going to go here. My opponent's going to go here. I'm going to go here. Yeah. I think I've misplayed this here. Although he's on here again too. Yeah, this is not good. This is not good. But I'm also, I feel like I'm then his knight is in my territory, and it's definitely not definitely not good for me. This is where he's kind of threatening. I feel like here I'm going to take here and then here. That's obviously, yeah. But let's see what happens. It's funny, when I get down to 2 minutes, I feel like I'm under time pressure, but a lot of the games that I play are 3-minute games and bullet games and stuff, and so I have to remind myself in these positions you have as much time as you normally have when you start a game, a 3-minute game. So my opponent's thinking a little bit. He takes, yeah, okay, I'm obviously threatening this here. My opponent's really not, I want to trade off. Will gladly exchange that knight. That knight is really starting to bother me, and I'm on here. Okay, things are getting dicey. I can't go here. Can I go here? These knights are very, very dangerous, and they're really, really quite. If he goes here, I'm taking here because I have this. Okay. Yeah, and this is a problem. Yeah, that's a good move. That's a good move. He's making it difficult. I have one move to make here. Yeah, this almost looks like a mating net here. Okay, okay. Here. Interesting. Can I just go here? Oh, that's mate. Nice. Is that mate? No, it isn't, because now I can take here. Oh, wow. Let's see what happens here. My opponent is maybe, okay. Oh, that is ugly. That is ugly. That's not going to be good. That is not going to be good. Yeah. Does he have like some dangerous checks? There's some craziness here. I'm on his rook. I didn't even see that. So if he doesn't have a double check. Oh, this is interesting. Oh my goodness. And he protects. That is fascinating. Well played. Well played. I can go here. I take here, right? No, and then I'm down a piece. Dude, can I save it? Can I save it? No, I cannot. Okay, well, let's just see what we got here. We have not a lot of time. Checks here. I'm going to try and just keep my king on a light square because my rook's on a dark square, and there's going to be lots of weird checks. Okay. Okay, it seems like I guess my only hope is like some of these passed pawns. If I can get some passed pawns moving here, let's see here. Go here. Oh, check. Stink. Oh, stink. Okay, let's see here. I'm at 58 seconds. Okay, let's just stay on light squares and see if I can get under here. Let's go this way. Maybe I can get the pawns rolling a little bit. Okay. Actually, I need to be on a dark. I need to get out of this line because I feel like the checks are maybe going to come. If he moves his rook, if he moves his knight, I'm just going to take this because I'm going to push this. I'm pushing this. I'm pushing this. All right, buddy. I'm pushing this. What do we got here? He goes here. I push. I push. I push. I have some counterplay. It's not going to be super easy for my opponent to win this. I'm pushing here. He takes. Can he go there? Is he gonna go? No, it's not. If he goes check, I move over. My opponent's really low on time, so this is kind of an unfair situation here because I don't feel like I might be able to beat my opponent on time. My opponent's taking too much time. It's really kind of an unfortunate win, but hey, I guess that's part of online chess. But yeah, that was that was wild. Wow, yeah, one player managed to earn the win. I don't think I earned that win, so I'm just going to go ahead and kind of click through some of the moves here and see some of the critical points that I felt like were in the game, and then we'll throw on the computer and see what Stockfish says. So wow, that was I got pretty wild there in the end game. So anyway, we have a critical line. I want to look at this a little bit deeper. Right here. I don't know, I've never seen this move before. It makes logical sense. He just wants to exchange off some things, but I felt like my pressure against the isolated queen pawn, definitely I had a little bit more of an advantage, but I think I misplayed it a little bit because I was a little bit passive. I just kind of like maybe h4 was not the best move. Let's see here. There was another. At this point, this was a critical position because basically I needed to realize, should I keep the queens on? Should I exchange them? I don't even know if I have a valid option otherwise. I mean, I obviously have things like this, but perhaps it was better to exchange. So this happened. And this was kind of a point where I was trying to like develop a plan. I felt like there was a lot of different plans that I had, and I was just kind of fixated on this one pawn on d5, and so kind of everything went around it. But then his knights got into really strong positions, and my opponent admittedly or whatever you say it, outplayed me, and it moves like this. I'm just letting my opponents like just push pawns on the queen side, I guess. But this is a good lesson for me. I think I probably should learn from these mistakes. So yeah, he's obviously threatening here, and I defend there, but he comes in. I'm like, these are the kind of positions I hate playing because you're defending, you're trying to maneuver, trying to get out of this, and here. Okay, here was, I think, a decent try to keep in the game. I'm obviously threatening the check, and let's see here. Okay, yeah. So once he got his knights into this position, it was just dicey, and maybe here even. I mean, where am I going? I don't know. It just, there's got to be something. There's got to be something. I feel bad because my opponent obviously missed like probably the most critical continuation, and we just now, yeah, okay, like this is great. Like obviously what was my option? What was I thinking about in this position? Oh, I didn't know. I was gonna take here, but like, let's say we go here. I'm pretty sure this is that's a rough day. That's a rough day. So yeah, he's threatening rook a3 mate. Very tricky move, by the way. But this move, I really like this move. I'm guessing it's probably good. We were really low on time. So my opponent, plays check. Obviously I'm forced in line here, but his rook's under attack. We're both like down to less than a minute or so at this point. I forget exactly what we were at as far as time wise, but it felt like we were really low on time. And so my opponent plays here. I go here, checks, takes. Here, let's see. There's got to be something better. If I go here, check here, I'm on here and here. It's got to be better. Check. Takes. He goes here. Check. This is just wild. This is wild. These are kind of the, you need like 15-20 minutes on an end game like this, and you're trying to play it with seconds. So unfortunately for my opponent, I if I was a gentleman, I would have probably resigned, but it's chess, and that's the way it is. So we got into this position, and I think I had about a minute or so, or close to maybe 45-50 seconds or something, and my opponent was really down on time, and I think my opponent just let the time expire. So all right, well, let's go ahead and throw on the engine. and in the evaluation here, let me just click through with the evaluation bar and see if there's any huge jumps. I like to do this before I throw on the engine. I forgot to do this yesterday. It's basically an opportunity for, is it still showing? Is it? It's not showing the evaluation. Let me, I guess I gotta have the, let's try this. There we go. So, all right, the evaluation bar is catching up. All right, we'll keep the lines on anyway. So here we go, going through here. It does look like, okay, bishop g5 is another option, but bishop takes d6 is not, you know, they're both about, they're kind of, Stockfish is kind of going back and forth there. So I'm not seeing any huge, oh, here, something happened here. Let's see here. Bishop e2 was a mistake, and f4 right away, right here, gives black a pretty good advantage. And that makes sense. That makes really good sense. Just putting to question my e3 pawn. That's a good, I definitely missed that. My opponent did as well. Instead, I should have played, instead of bishop e3, I should have played g3. You know, I actually vaguely remember this. Looking at this line, look at that. That's really what I wanted. Oh, this is one of those. Yes, this is a great learning experience because that's how you attack the isolated queen pawn. The fianchetto light square bishop really just bears down on that. Yeah, that would have been much better. That was a good, I would say that would have been a good learning point. G3, get your bishop on that long diagonal and attack that pawn. So good learning point. Definitely missed that. Again, you know, you got situations like that. Imagine your bishop on this diagonal, and I'm making all these moves just to get my bishop to f3. So at this point, looking for some, yeah, right here, kind of an inaccuracy. Knight e5 was a good move. Hey, Stockfish was recommending h4 as a decent move. Probably about even here, nothing crazy happening. Queen b5 is recommended. Knight b7, that's probably not the best move, but it doesn't really change the evaluation too much here. And so my opponent plays a5 and I play queen f4. Stockfish likes queen b5. That's not a bad idea. Queen b5. Anyway, so I played queen f5, f4. Whoops. Whoa. Let's go back here. Queen f4. And let's see here. This is okay. This is kind of a critical position in my opinion. So taking the trading the queens was recommended by Stockfish. It probably maybe makes logical sense. This is going to be a weakness. I wasn't able to capitalize on it, but it is a weakness, and so let's see what happens here. This again, I was trying to figure out the best way to just double up on the d file, but I didn't really see it. Knight c1. Knight c1 is an interesting idea. Routing the knight into the d3 square. That's a pretty good idea. That was Stockfish. Stockfish is always coming up with these great ideas, you know. I wish I could come up with such awesome ideas in the game. Good stuff. So my opponent plays a4. I play here. I'm not seeing like huge swings in the evaluation, so neither one of us are making like these huge mistakes, although that was a really good move, obviously. And I maybe should have played again. Knight c1. Knight c1 again. So knight d4 again, just kind of gets a an even position. Rook h d1. Yeah, knight. So right here they're suggesting knight d6. Knight d6, and the idea is if I'm not careful, my opponent is coming in like this. Yeah, so So knight d6 might have been a better move in this position. I can't move here because he's going to take there. Yeah, I feel like at this point, I'm getting outplayed by my opponent. I kind of feel bad because my opponent, you know, wasn't able to convert in time trouble. But that's I guess chess. That's online chess for you for sure. Dirty flag, they say. Now here, okay, this was kind of a critical point. I was trying to figure out what to do, and okay, just something less dramatic. Just move one of the, either move king c1 or rook c2. But still, I'm just kind of dancing around. Definitely bishop e2 was a mistake. Knight e4, my opponent capitalized on that, played very well. Rook c2, knight takes, all of this is good. Rook f1 is recommended. My opponent goes back. Rook f5, still a good advantage for my opponent, but these are all top moves at this point. G4, not bad. That's the idea from Stockfish there. Or rook c1. What did I play? I played bishop f3. Now my opponent's now taking advantage. Look at that. Look at the evaluation bar. It's getting really dicey. So I play king b3, then knight c5. Yeah, this doesn't look great for white for sure. I play the only legal move, king b4. I believe that's the only legal move. Yes, it is. And knight d3. So right here, what did my opponent miss? Because let's see here. King b4. I guess knight d3 is recommended. King b3. Again, it's saying go knight c5 again, and king b4. That the computer is like almost asking to repeat the position, but then it later changes. So my opponent plays rook a8. That gave me, oh wow, look at that. I was able to find the only critical move in the position. Not very hard to find, but I'm not saying it's like a miracle. I didn't even know how powerful the move was when I made it. I just knew it's like I had to be able to take this knight if he plays rook a3 instead of putting me in checkmate. So basically now it looks like white has the advantage, but obviously I kind of messed up a little bit. So knight a5 recommended, king a4. Crazy. I'm lined up with this discovered check, but still white is winning here. This is a fascinating position. Knight b7, king b5. Activate your king in the end game, right? Rook a5, king c6. Okay, that makes much better sense. I played, what did I play? King b. Yeah, that's Blundertown, because I didn't realize he's on not just that one but two. So this right here. What did I say earlier? Here, does that work? Because I said it could attack both. Yeah, that's still decent, but right here, king c6. Knight d8 check, king d6. These are only moves. This just seems really dicey, and I'm able to play rook d2, and look at that position. I mean, it's wild. A lot of possibility for tactics and stuff, and definitely need more than like a minute to play this position, but my huge blunder was king takes b6 on move 37. My opponent played incredibly well. Props to Iron Rose 54. I took on b7. Then my opponent just takes my knight, and I try to do something. And here, my opponent plays supposedly knight c5 is the best move, but still. Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. That's I missed that. That would have been Ouchtown. That was lights out there. So I was kind of halfway in all that time scramble when we were making those moves, I was thinking to myself, I got to get off of this discover check, and I was thinking I was supposed to be on the light squares, but I should have been on the dark squares, but I got confused there in time trouble. But yeah, knight, that would have been game over. Unfortunate for my opponent, he didn't see that, and at this point, my opponent plays rook d7. That just gives like 0-0-0 with king c8. Oh, because that's interesting. I gotta look at this line. I did not see this. So king c8, king e7. Oh, I guess. Oh, it's just I have to. Basically, black has to agree to some kind of perpetual. That's the only thing my opponent has. That's an interesting position. I should go back and look at this one a little bit deeper later. This is very interesting. So at this point, I misplayed. I didn't play the right move. We were really low on time at this point, but we kind of went here. I takes. I played a4, king c7, a5, knight c6, a6, h5, king c5, and here, you know, objectively, I think my opponent could probably outplay me in this position, but ran out on time. So some interesting things from this. I think my passive play or my indecisiveness in the middle game maybe came back to haunt me. I was definitely not seeing all the moves that my opponent had for where his knights were going. His knights were like all over the place, and so all in all, interesting. Definitely one I want to go back with and look a little bit deeper in that end game and some of the techniques there. So interesting game. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. And our second training game. Hopefully next game I will win in a more convincing manner, not just on time. So gotta appreciate those dirty flags. Have a great day.